Right now on Denver7 News at 6 a.m., a massive fire ripping through Boulder County, breaking state records.
1,600 acres near a population center can be, and is, in this case, absolutely devastating.
Hurricane-force winds push the flames onto homes and businesses, forcing people to get out fast.
I don't think anybody can be prepared for this. It's pretty terrifying.
This morning, our team is spread out across the area, giving you the latest on firefighting efforts, evacuations, and how you can help our neighbors who lost so much. And right off the top, here's a live look at the fires now in parts of Louisville and Superior. Entire streets have been wiped out. Some homes are nothing but their foundations, as you can see in that live picture right there.
It happened so fast. And first of all, from all of us here at Denver7, we want to say our hearts and our thoughts are with everyone impacted by these fires. And we want you to know we are doing everything we can to give you a look at some of the damage this morning and explain what's happening as far as the firefighting efforts and help anyone still out of their homes, really for the foreseeable future based off the images. Thanks for joining our coverage this morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Micah Smith. We want to get right to this breaking news. First at 6, a massive fire leaving behind so much devastation this morning in Boulder County. We're set to get an update from officials at 10 a.m. But these are some of the terrifying images we're seeing. Homes covered in flames. We'll see more of the damage as the sun rises.
Meanwhile, I want to get a check of the latest evacuations. So the areas on this map that are in red are under mandatory evacuation orders still. And that applies to Louisville, Superior, and areas bordering Broomfield. The areas in yellow surrounding the red are evacuation warnings. Several evacuation sites are ready to accept people this morning. The YMCA of Northern Colorado in Lafayette. The Rocky Mountain Christian Church is in Niwot.
In Boulder, the North Boulder Recreation Center on Broadway. And if you or someone you know has animals that need to be evacuated, you can bring them to the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. The city of Westminster is no longer under evacuation orders, but out of caution, some city facilities will be closed today. That includes the Walnut Creek Golf Preserve Clubhouse and Restaurant, Westview Recreation Center, Stanley Lake Nature Center and Main Gate, and the Brock Open Space Office.
Also, thousands of people near the fire zone are still without power this morning. At last check, there were more than 14,000 outages. And we know the fire started from down power lines. Also overnight, Excel ended its controlled natural gas outages in both Summit and Grand counties. The fire was impacting the infrastructure that feeds gas into the mountains. Gas was also turned off in Louisville and Superior, and the utility says it will provide space heaters to affected customers in those cities.
Yeah, meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo and traffic expert Jason Luber will be joining us with a look at how the weather could impact crews and streets you want to avoid if you are driving today.
First, we want to check in with our reporters across Boulder County in some neighborhoods, sadly, that are no longer standing. I mean, homes leveled. Denver7's Eric Lufer is live in Superior. You're off Andrew Drive. And Eric, I know viewers have reached out to you and you've had to break some heart-wrenching news to them.
Yeah, I've been on Twitter and I've been trying my best to go around to see if people's homes are still standing. For the most part, I've actually been able to tell people that their homes are still there. But the last woman I talked with, who was just talking to me on Twitter, asked me to go look at her house, and I don't think it's there. So I'm just having trouble getting through this when I'm having to tell people that their homes aren't standing anymore. This is one of them. This is on Andrew Drive. So this is on Andrew, closest to Indiana, not closest, but closer to Indiana, and you can see that this house is just gone. It's still burning. You can see this is an old fire pit. I think this might have been a front patio. I'm not even sure. I don't even know if this lot was a home or not. There's water spewing out from a pipe. No clue. No, I'm assuming this was a home. But what's so unbelievable is that when you go to the west on Andrew, both sides of the street are untouched. So there's just this section of about maybe 20 homes on both sides of Bristol that are just gone. We talked with one man who was checking on his house last night. His home was still standing. Listen.
I just think we're all just kind of torn right now and shook up. Not sure what to think, and kind of sad what tomorrow's going to look like when we wake up.
So we are waiting for the sun to come up now, and we can only imagine what that's going to look like. I've never been more angry with Mother Nature in my life. The winds are picking up again. It's coming from the northeast. A very cold wind. It's dropped about 15 degrees. Very high winds. Not very high, but it is definitely starting to pick up again. It was nice to see the calm winds overnight, but they are starting to pick up again.
And Eric, you're born and raised here. I know you've never seen anything like this, and it's just going to take our entire community to rebuild. I mean, these areas will never look the same. So thank you for that look there. 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts at times pushed the flames so fast yesterday. We heard from first responders and from the people who were evacuating in a moment's notice yesterday, and they saw the fire jump roads and buildings.
Denver7's Veronica Acosta is live across Highway 36 in Louisville. Veronica, you had to change locations not too long ago because the smoke was so thick. Now you're on Arapahoe Circle, where it's another heartbreaking scene.
And we walked just feet of where we were before, Micah. We're now near Willow Place and Honeysuckle Lane because the wind is starting to pick up. First responders, that's what they're worried about. And they're actually right over here. They just pulled up, they stopped, and they're kind of surveying some of those hot spots, just making sure nothing really picks up. There's a lot of trees that are still standing here this morning, and that is the big concern. There's also another home over here. We're not exactly sure what the address on that home is. We'll go and check it out, but that one also still standing. And this is a lot of what we're seeing this morning right over here. You know, homes just completely burned down to the foundation. You can see those hot spots, those flames kind of moving as the wind picks up. A bathtub there, and that's probably the most significant thing we've seen all morning, besides a pot and a melted mailbox on the sidewalk. Besides that item, not much else left this morning. I'm gonna walk over this way. We're gonna pick up this light that we put on the ground here so we can show you just a little bit of what we have going on over here. And we have more first responders pulling up. So you can see those charred cars over in the background. The ground, the roof, there's a ton of nails on the ground, and every now and then you can hear popping off in the distance. So obviously something that we're watching for. We're listening this morning as well, and we'll continue to bring you any updates of what we're seeing out here, but not too much left. Guys, back to you.
Right, thank you, Veronica. I mean, this is life-changing damage and destruction. Certainly. There is a massive emergency response for the fire. A lot of those crews are coordinating at the Flatirons Crossing Mall.
Denver7's Chris Stewart is live overlooking that staging area where the response to the fires is happening, and you might even be able to see some of the pockets of flames out there this morning, Chris. All right, looks like we've lost Chris's audio for just a second, and we'll get back to him shortly. But we know there's a lot of devastation out there, and people will need help from across the Front Range to help them rebuild.
Yeah, that's right. The Boulder County Community Foundation has set up a fund for people wanting to donate. We've also set up a Denver7 Gives Fund to help those directly impacted. You can donate right now. Just go to our webpage and click on December Wildfires to give.
We'll also be working to find a partner so we can get more help to more people even more quickly. Want to get a check of our forecast from Lisa. Lisa, I mean, hurricane force winds at the peak here, and fortunately that has changed this morning.
Yeah, at 115 mile per hour winds yesterday there at Rocky Flats, you're talking Category 3 hurricane force winds, just unreal, like anything we've ever seen. And then the fire itself, because it got so hot, it was spreading so fast, was creating its own weather pattern as well within some of those flames. I want to show you some of the current wind gusts. Now, we're likely going to see winds pick up a little bit here at sunrise. That's typical. As you get the sun out, it warms the ground. We get air displacing itself. And as it starts to mix out a little bit, those winds will pick up. Right now out at the airport, a recent wind gust near about 30 miles per hour. We're likely going to see there near Louisville and Superior wind gusts close to about 25, 30 miles per hour today. Winds are shifting, though, with this cold front rolling through. We're also tracking snow, thankfully, by late morning. This is going to be the biggest snowstorm of the season for us so far. It's not extremely heavy, but a good 3 to 6 inches expected here along the Front Range by tomorrow morning. We've got a number of winter weather alerts that go into effect at 11 o'clock. I want to show you quickly a little of the timing of this. Here by about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we're likely going to start to see some of that snow moving in from the west. It's already falling up and through the foothills and northern Front Range mountains, and we'll will start to fill back in. So expect dry conditions this morning. But Jason, it's going to be an icy commute tonight and cold. I mean, look at by about 8 o'clock tonight, we drop down into the 20s at that point.
Yeah, I'm already seeing snow-covered roads in Estes Park right now. These are the roads in and around Highway 36. You see the closures in place still. It's going to be basically Wadsworth over to Foothills, and there's Foothills. The RTD system obviously affected by this as well. The Flatiron Flyers are either not running or significant delayed, rerouted. Some of the other buses are rerouted, but you're not seeing any traffic on Highway 36 right now. Let me show you on the map exactly what's taking place. So this is Highway 36 closed down from Wadsworth all the way to basically Foothills and Table Mesa. That's the major closure. These are the other roads that are closed, like South Boulder Road, Dillon Road, part of 96, McCaslin, Marshall, and Cherryvale. Eric was right down over here in this neighborhood here, right off of McCaslin, and Indiana is right here. And so this is the area that Eric was in. This is the area that Veronica was in, right by the lake, right up here. And you can see that those are some of the neighborhoods that were affected. Caroline was sitting over here at 96th and Dillon, which is also restricted, trying to get in through that part of Superior and Louisville. So we will have some roads that are closed down, but you're getting out of Boulder. Baseline and Arapahoe are open, as is Highway 93. Those are the ways to get in and out of Boulder if you need to get there right now.
And we want to get back to Denver7's Chris Stewart. He has a live look at the staging area where a lot of the emergency responders are right now. Chris, what can you tell us?
Yeah, these emergency responders, they have been very busy through the night, not only just getting a handle on these flames, but also assessing the damage. And we're on Highway 128 right now, not far from the Flatiron Crossing Mall, where a lot of these first responders have been staging overnight. But you just take a look behind us here from where we are, kind of getting a view from the high ground this morning. This is Superior off in the distance, and you can see some first responders going through these communities. Obviously, we'll know more when the sun comes up this morning, really getting a grip of the extent of damage that these flames did yesterday. You think of all the people living in the communities that we're looking at right now who perhaps lost their homes overnight or are waking up this morning unsure whether their homes are still standing. We don't see any flames from where we're standing at this point. This was a place yesterday, you probably saw those images on air and on social media of those flames across the horizon. We're seeing really some smoke here this morning. And I will tell you, in the last half hour or so, we've really felt that wind start to pick up where we are. And at times when a gust comes in your direction, you still, even being a little ways from a neighborhood, you kind of get that whiff of that fire, kind of that campfire smell that unfortunately comes in this situation. There's still so much we don't know as far as the extent of the damage. We've obviously seen the images, but we are expecting to hear more later this morning when first responders are holding a news conference at around 10 o'clock. We'll send it back to you.
We are certainly thinking of those first responders today. You're taking a live look at Dillon and 96 in Superior. Homes burned down to their foundations. Firefighters still working to put out flames, and emergency crews navigating cars around the damage. Our coverage of this heartbreaking fire continues in just a few minutes. And we appreciate all of our Denver7 viewers sending us photos and videos of the devastating damage across Boulder County. You can share your own to the Discover Colorado through Your Photos Facebook page.
Okay, so you think New Year's Eve is amazing? Shh. Just wait until you see the live surprise I have coming for the most amazing person Monday morning on Good Morning.
Your time is now 6:16. Some of the worst damage we've seen is in the town of Superior.
Yeah, it was the first city to evacuate yesterday. It was largely covered in smoke by the Marshall Fire. We couldn't really see some of the damage, but we were there as more than 13,000 people from the city were trying to pack up what they could and get out as fast as they could. But we have seen this morning, sadly, entire neighborhoods and businesses have been wiped out. We are joined by the mayor of Superior this morning, Clint Folsom. First of all, Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. And we know it's been a difficult 24 hours, and we want you to know we are doing everything we can to help out your community. Can you give us an idea, a little bit of your priorities this morning, and maybe put your thoughts into words for us?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. The priorities for this morning are going to be continue to stabilize the situation there and make it safe so that residents can come back. I know that's probably the number one priority of residents, is to get back in there and see what the situation is on the ground firsthand. Please give the first responders the space. It is not a safe situation there yet. and we still do have that mandatory evacuation order. So please be patient and let them do their job to make the community safe, because it's when I left last night as a part of the evacuation order, it was things were still burning, and I've seen video of this morning, things are still burning. So it's not a safe situation, and there's also just a tremendous amount of debris all over the place from these tremendous winds that we had fueling this fire.
Yeah, Mayor Folsom, we know we'll have a better look at that debris and damage. Last night, we reported that the damage was about estimated to be 580 homes. Do you have any updated numbers for us this morning?
I don't have anything more updated than that. Those are consistent with numbers I've been hearing as well.
And the governor declared a state of emergency for the area. Have you had conversations with him, and what does that declaration help with regards to resources?
I've not spoken directly with the governor. I've received calls from both of our U.S. senators and our U.S. Representative Neguse, who've all offered federal assistance, and so we're definitely going to need state and federal assistance throughout this disaster in the recovery. Our local Boulder County Sheriff's Office is going to be kind of leading the effort to assess the damage and inventory it, and then coordinate with these state and local authorities to get residents the assistance that they need to start the recovery process.
You know, one of the issues people from other states are finding it really hard to understand about these fires is that they're not in the woods. This is in the city. Do you have a message for the firefighters who have flooded in from all over?
We're extremely grateful to all of the firefighters. I've seen firefighters from all over, and law enforcement as well, that have just flooded in a matter of very short amount of time to help with this. I mean, we live next to some very beautiful open space, but given the dry conditions over the past several months, and that combined with these winds and then a spark, whatever caused this, it was just a tragic combination of events that just drove that fire into the first homes, and then it just swept it all the way east through our town and over into Louisville.
Oh, it was just unheard of how quickly everything developed. And we want you to know we're here for you. We want to do what we can to help you. What do you need from us, from the community? What can our viewers do to help as well?
The Boulder OEM, Office of Emergency Management, so boulderoem.com has a website with up-to-date information, and they also have a link on there to donate, and that would be the recommended path for people that want to help out, is to go to boulderoem.com and follow their links to help out. And over the coming days and weeks, we'll certainly be developing that further as well. So just appreciate the coverage, appreciate the support of everyone, and to the firefighters and first responders. Really, I can't say enough about the bravery and the hard work that they're doing. I was out there driving around in it last night with our sheriff sergeant and town manager, and it was the most horrific conditions I've ever experienced.
Yeah. When you see the flames, it's incredible the work that those firefighters do. Mayor Folsom, thank you so much for taking time to spend with us this morning. We're glad you're safe, and our hearts are with you and your community.
Thank you so much.
All right, now we have to take a quick break, but we will be back with more coverage of this devastating fire that just swept through Boulder County so quickly.
The only New Year's party live in Times Square.
Welcome back. It's a Denver7 weather action day. We're tracking a storm that is now at this point bringing some snow to parts of the northern Front Range. In fact, within the last 12 hours, the storm definitely speeding up, and we're going to see here within the next few hours some of that snow moving in along I-25, closer to spots like Boulder, Fort Collins, Longmont here. That's right around 9 to about 9:30 this morning. Temperatures right now are in the 20s and 30s. We are not going to see much of a warm up. We'll hit upper 30s here by early afternoon, and then it's going to get colder from there. Now, as far as the winds go, likely seeing wind gusts upwards of around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So it's not going to be nearly as windy yesterday, and those winds are shifting now out of the north and northeast. 7:30 tonight, we're going to see some icy roads for the evening commute. When it comes to snowfall totals, by early tomorrow morning, most of our accumulating snow will have already fallen, and we're looking at likely here in town right around 3 to 6 inches of snow. It's going to get heavier on the west side of town as you get up and through parts of Boulder County, Jefferson County, up near Genesee, and into the foothills. We're looking at around 6 to 12 inches, and for the mountains, a good 1 to 2 feet. So this is going to be our biggest snowstorm, Jason, of the season so far. At 3 to 6 inches, not saying much. Typically at the end of December, we're at just over 20 inches. Very cold, though. Single digits tomorrow morning, down to near 0 Sunday morning.
Speaking of snow, I'm seeing snow obviously in Estes Park, but also now some light snow in Fort Collins. Harmony and Shields is where we're going right here, and you can see some of the snow on the sidewalk, not really sticking to the road yet. It's just wet for us in most of the areas around Fort Collins, and the snow is also starting to drift towards I-25. I'll keep an eye on that. In the drive going up to or from Boulder, Highway 36, as you can see from the map, this still remains closed down, both the east and westbound side. I think we're going to wait till daylight till we can start to see about getting some of those, at least the main roads open. But I think McCaslin will be closed down. South Boulder Road will stay closed. Marshall Road, some of these areas right around Superior will be closed down. As we heard from Eric, this is the neighborhood that he was in just off of McCaslin and Indiana here. Veronica was over here by the lake, just south of the lake, and this is the neighborhood that she was in, seeing some of that devastation. And then Caroline was over here at 96th and Dillon, and some of this access is also closed down as well. So we do have roads that are open in and around Boulder, including Baseline and Arapahoe to get out. Highway 93 is also open if you need to get to or from Golden.
And we're taking a live look in Superior right now. Our Veronica Acosta is nearby. She'll have a live update for us in just a few moments. Just a quick recap. Nearly 600 homes burned down to their foundation. Thousands under evacuation orders in Boulder County. Our coverage of the Marshall Fire continues after this quick break.
When Colorado weather changes, Denver7 keeps you in front of it. Anytime you see this logo, you'll know it's a Denver7 weather action day, and the weather's about to change.
From sweltering heat to winter storms and everything in between, we'll make sure you and your family are always one step ahead of it all.
So keep an eye out for this logo. It means it's a Denver7 weather action day, and we're preparing you for anything Mother Nature throws your way.
Denver7.
Part of me is thankful that our house is still up, and part of me is really bummed and sad for our friends. I'm about to call one of them right now.
Oh, the images are devastating, and some gut-wrenching, instantaneous calls that neighbors had to make in Boulder County yesterday when they heard word of the Marshall Fire spreading so fast. They had to grab what they could and evacuate at a moment's notice. But sadly, some are learning this morning they lost everything in that wildfire that spread in hurricane-force winds and extremely dry conditions. Unprecedented to see this kind of damage in an urban area from a fire in Colorado. Taking a live look now from near Broomfield. This is at the Flatirons Crossing Mall, a staging area for first responders there. You can still see some of the fire burning across Boulder County this morning.
Yeah, we'll get an update from officials about firefighting efforts later this morning around 10, and we'll take that news conference live right here on Denver7. Right now, we're continuing our team coverage at 6:30. Our reporters are spread across the area. Let's start with Veronica Acosta in Louisville. Veronica, the sun is starting to come up. What are you seeing where you are?
Arapahoe Circle and Arapahoe Court. That's where we are this morning. It's a small cul-de-sac here in this neighborhood. We were here earlier trying to show you the best we could what is left of here. And honestly, there's not much. So if you walk a little bit this way, you can see this is one house here. The foundation's still kind of up there, but you can see there's a car in the driveway here, another car just to my left, and then over a basketball court here that didn't completely char, but somehow still slightly standing there. There's mailboxes sprawled on the floor here. I'm going to pick up this light so you guys can get a better look at what we're dealing with. It is smoky this morning. You can smell it. You can see it. There's a lot of first responders making their way down these roads. They're just trying to make sure that these hot spots don't pop back up too badly. It was a little bit gustier earlier this morning. It's settled down just a bit, but you can see the glow from that fire there. That's what they're concerned about, and that's why they are driving up and down these neighborhoods. But this specific one where we're at this morning, we said it earlier, this entire neighborhood, there's not one home standing here. So we tried counting, but you kind of start losing count once you just keep seeing those foundations. So earlier we saw a bathtub. On this specific cul-de-sac, there's nothing that's really identifiable besides those mailboxes and those pots that we're seeing every now and then. So we're going to continue to make our way through here. Every now and then you can hear a popping. You can also hear water somewhere around this area. So we're going to keep an eye here, and we'll let you know what comes of it. Guys.
Thank you, Veronica. Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse was one of the thousands of people who had to evacuate Boulder County. He represents the area. We talked with him last night on the air during Denver7's extended coverage, and his immediate thoughts were with the families who lost everything without warning.
To think of the many families tonight who have lost everything, lost all of their belongings, lost their homes. Truly unprecedented to see this kind of carnage here in our suburban communities in Boulder County, and it's just a tough day for our community.
Congressman Neguse also said FEMA funds will be made available to fight the Marshall Fire. That federal money can pay up to 75% of the state's firefighting costs. And the effort to get the fires under control still has a long way to go.
Crews from all over are helping. Chris Stewart, you're looking over the ongoing efforts from Highway 128.
Yeah, Mike and Brian, you take a look behind us here, and we're looking towards Superior. This is from Highway 128, and as you look off into the distance, you can see some first responders. We've been out here for hours, and we've seen them kind of going through the neighborhoods that are just in front of us here. I'm sure assessing the damage, looking at the images that we have seen this morning up close of what these flames have done. From where we're standing, we're not seeing flames right now. We have seen some smoke rising from the horizon, but this was a place yesterday where you did see those massive flames as they worked through these neighborhoods. And you just think about all the people who live in these areas ahead of us. So many of them waking up this morning unsure whether their homes are still standing. We are expecting that news conference later this morning around 10 o'clock to understand a little bit more about the firefighting efforts moving forward. And now, as we are starting to see the sun come up this morning, we will get a better look at exactly what damage these fires have done. We'll send it back to you.
We've heard from our live reporters that they're concerned because they're noticing that the wind is starting to pick up again. That is not good news when it comes to this fire that's burning.
We do have, Lisa, a Denver7 weather action day because we do have a big change coming. Snow on the way. Unfortunately, it's about 24 hours too late.
It's this kind of a scenario where the winds pick up ahead of a storm, which causes what we saw yesterday, and then you get the snow that comes in right behind it. And you can see we're already starting to get a little of that snow up near spots like Fort Collins. So the storm's starting to pick up a little bit of speed. When it comes to those winds, as we get a little closer here to sunrise, we are going to see some of those wind speeds pick up a touch, likely looking at gusts upwards of around 25 to near 30 miles per hour. You will notice the winds are shifting, though, and as that cold front rolls in across parts of the northern front range, we're now seeing more of a northerly, northeasterly wind, and that's going to usher in much colder weather, and then snow will develop here within the next few hours in spots and, again, close to the fire there. Right now, we're looking at this point, dry conditions for the morning commute, snow expected by late morning, gusts near about 25 miles per hour, and then some really cold conditions downtown tonight. It is New Year's Eve. A lot of people are still planning on being out. We have a number of alerts. I'm going to detail all of these coming up. Plus, we'll take a closer look at some of those potential snowfall totals, what we're expecting by tomorrow morning, Jason, here in just a few minutes.
And there are wet roads in Fort Collins right now as I've been looking at some of those cameras. These are the cameras right along Highway 36. As you can see, foothills. This is the RTD park and ride. There are delays going to be coming out of the park and ride, and you you can see the flashing lights for the folks that would be heading eastbound. No traffic over by the mall here at Wadsworth, up there at Baseline. So it is all closed down. This is what it looks like on the map for you here this morning. This is the entire section of Highway 36. I think once we start to see some more daylight, Highway 36 should open later on this morning. These roads that are in around these neighborhoods will be continue to be closed down, including most of McCaslin. South Boulder Road is still closed down. Dillon Road, 96, Marshall and Cherryvale are also closed down. This is where Eric was, down over here in this neighborhood, just off of Indiana and McCaslin. So this is the area that Eric was in. Just south of the lake is where Veronica is in, right over here. So we do have some damage in those areas as well. So we do have roads that are open out of Boulder. The diagonal to Longmont is open. So is Baseline and Arapahoe and Highway 93 to or from Golden. So there are roads open getting to or from there. Highway 36 is the big one that's going to be closed down.
There is so much to take in, a lot to assess, and a lot of emotion, and people will need help from our entire community to help rebuild.
Yeah, the Boulder County Community Foundation has set up a fund for people wanting to donate. We've also set up a Denver7 Gives Fund to help those impacted by these fires. You can donate right now. Just go to our webpage and click on December Wildfires to give. We'll also be working to find a partner so we can get more help to more people quickly.
Want to give you one more live look from the ground in Louisville. This is off Arapahoe Circle and Arapahoe Court, where there is nothing left, sadly, on this street. It's a neighborhood near Coal Creek Elementary. The school is still standing this morning, but we're going to go live to our reporters on scene when we return.
Goodbye.
Welcome back. Your time is now 6:42. You know, we've talked a lot about the devastation, the impact it's having on homeowners. We also want to talk about first responders who've been working through the night to try to get these fires under control.
Caroline Peters is live for us near the Coal Creek Golf Course community. This is off Dillon Road and 96th Street in Louisville. The intersection was a traffic jam yesterday with people trying to get out. Obviously a much different scene this morning. What are you seeing out there right now?
Yes, obviously a much different scene. As you can see behind me, police have this road completely blocked off now. As we were traveling to try to get into Superior to see some of the neighborhood damages, a lot of the roads just like this were blocked off because it's simply unsafe for us and for anyone to be in there right now. The sun is starting to join us, and what we know is that this entire area was affected by all of the fires. A lot of damages occurred, but we can't see too much of the damage as of now because the sun is just now deciding to join us. But what we can tell you is that it's very smoky. The smoke has been intermittent throughout the morning, but at times it's been unbearable, which is why we have been wearing our mask in between hits. We have been keeping an eye out back there for any flames. We have not seen any flames all morning long, which is a good thing. Another thing, though, is the wind has been fairly at bay. It's been picking up in and out. We know the wind is a major concern. We hope that it does stay at bay. We have heard fire trucks throughout the morning. We don't know too much about the fire's containment as of yet, but as we gather details, we will continue to keep you posted. Back to you.
You, Caroline, and you're hearing fire trucks and first responders are still on the move because this fire is still active. There are still a lot of flames out there, and as a result, our reporter crews on the ground are having to move out of neighborhoods where those fire crews are getting into. So we'll get back to our live crews as soon as they get set up in a new location. Meanwhile, we know hundreds of homes are lost this morning.
Yeah, in a single afternoon. It's so hard to wrap your head around that. And for a little context, we want to bring in Newsy reporter Clayton Sandell in Superior on El Dorado. Clayton, you've covered the historic fires across the West this year. How do these fires compare?
You know, you hear that phrase over and over that we have never seen anything like this, and I have to agree 100%. I was here for the fires in 2012, but to see how quickly these fires moved yesterday with those Category 3 speed hurricanes style winds was just incredible, and how quickly it unfolded. And we are here on El Dorado, roughly in the 12 to 1300 block. The intersection of Kyoto Lane is right over here, and you can see, you know, much the same as you've seen in other places, but there are about 9 or 10 homes right behind me here that are burned to the ground. You can see, you know, just columns. This is actually the entrance to a garage here. You can see a burned out car. You can't even tell what kind of car this is, but it was so hot. You can see, I don't know if you can tell, but the glass out of the window liquefied because it got so hot, and the tires have completely burned off of it. And then, of course, this is the garage. And just moments ago, firefighters came through here and put out a hotspot. You can see some of the smoke and steam behind me here. They have, as the winds went down overnight, they were able to get into this area, and all evening, we got here about midnight, and we've seen crews all throughout the night coming in to protect what they can. And really, one of the stories here is just the randomness of all of this, because there are, as I said, about 9 or 10 homes here behind me that are burned. But if you can see just across the street here, there are a number of homes that are completely untouched. In fact, a lot of the power is out in the area behind me here, but back in that area there, you can see the house there still has its Christmas lights on the house. So they still have electricity in some areas. And just a few feet away, we're looking at this kind of destruction. So it is absolutely devastating. And so many people do not have a place to come home to as they start this new year, guys.
It's so wild to see the contrast there of the homes that were absolutely leveled and the ones that seemed untouched. And obviously, we're so thankful for the ones that were spared.
Yeah, the randomness of it all, it just makes your heart drop. Lisa, I want to ask you, weather-wise, what are we seeing today that may help or may make the situation worse on the ground?
You know, the snow's going to help, obviously. The cooler weather is going to help. The wind speed's also calming down overnight. Huge help. In a lot of these neighborhoods, I wouldn't be surprised if you see when it's a west and east, maybe drive road, that the north side of the street may be untouched versus the south side, because we had those winds howling from west to east and really just taking out lines of homes on some of those streets. And, you know, we had, like Clayton had said, the hurricane force winds, Category 3, 150-mile-per-hour wind speeds there at Rocky Flats. Boulder coming in at 108 yesterday. There in Jefferson County, White Ranch Park, 103. Just unreal. Now, this morning, here's where things obviously have helped out. Things calmed down overnight. The winds are going to pick up a little. This is pretty typical for us right around sunrise, where we get that temperature change, the ground warming up, the air mixing out, and then the winds picking up a little. So we're going to see speeds likely at around 25 to 30 miles per hour. They're up along 36 and close to Superior and Louisville. Wind shifting, though, with a cold front rolling through and a number of alerts going into effect this morning. Areas in purple, a winter weather advisory goes into effect at 11 o'clock. We have a winter storm warning for the Front Range, foothills, mountains, upwards of around 6 to 12 inches as you get through parts of Jefferson, Boulder, Larimer counties. It'll be heavier there. Our winter weather advisory here across the core of the metro area in effect until 11 o'clock tomorrow. We also have wind chill advisory. We're expecting wind chills dropping down to about 20 degrees below zero on the far eastern plains by early tomorrow morning. So take a look at the timing. We've already seen some light snow falling up near Fort Collins and up along I-25 north of Fort Collins and Longmont. That snow will start to spread a little farther south here within the next few hours. So by mid-morning, we'll start to see more snow closer to spots like Louisville, Superior, Boulder. You're going to find temps only in the 30s this morning and then getting colder as the day goes on. Snow fills in for the evening commute, so it does look like it's going to be icy tonight. The brunt of our accumulating snow is going to fall this evening, and then things will start to taper off by tomorrow morning. It's going to get pretty cold, though. We're looking at temperatures dropping down into the single digits overnight. When it comes to snowfall totals, around 3 to 6 inches across the plains, 1 to, it looks like 2 feet up and through the northern and central mountains. Cold weather, too. That's going to be the other story. By early tomorrow morning, we're looking at temperatures down in the single digits, and then by early Sunday down to about zero. If you're heading up to the mountains this weekend, you're going to find teens likely on Saturday. It's going to be a cold one. Snow will gradually taper off as the day goes on. Still a few scattered snow showers Saturday. Sunday, we're going to be in the 20s with more sunshine. Sunshine statewide Sunday, but wow, it is really cold. Early that morning, you're going to want to bundle up. We're expecting temps down to near 0 by about 7 o'clock, which means wind chills here in town at about 5 to 10 below. Highs only in the upper 30s Sunday afternoon. So get ready for a change, but obviously a much needed one, Jace.
And somebody was just asking me if they could get over to Boulder Community Health. And let me show you the camera over there at Foothills in Arapahoe, because it's just a little bit east of here. So we're looking actually now to the west towards the Flatirons. And this is here at Foothills in Arapahoe, and it is open. The roads in Boulder are open, and getting on over to Boulder Health is open as well. So that is good news for some of the folks that are trying to make their way over to the hospital here today. Take a look at the drive that is closed down. Highway 36 remains closed down. I think there's going to be a new assessment here later this morning, and they'll get Highway 36 open later on after the active fire is really dissipated, and when that weather moves in, it'll really put out the fire. So we're going to see Highway 36 probably remaining closed down because they make a good assessment. McCaslin is closed down. Marshall Road, South Boulder Road, much of that is closed down. So is Dillon and 96th. Community Park, this is the area right here where Clayton was, right in this neighborhood here, and Eric has been reporting in that neighborhood there, so just off of Community Park, and Veronica has been reporting just south of the lake, right in this neighborhood here, so that's where we're still seeing some of the damage, and obviously some of the road closures. Caroline was over there at 96 and Dillon, but some of these other roads coming in around Boulder are open, including the Diagonal and 93.
And we have a live look now from Rock Creek, El Dorado, and Northern Way in Superior at 6:51 this morning. As the sun comes up, we're getting a better look at the gut-wrenching damage the Marshall Fire has left behind. We're back in 60 seconds.
Welcome back. Time is 6:53, and as the sun starts to rise this morning, we're seeing more of the damage caused by the devastating Marshall Fire in Boulder County.
Yeah, new overnight, all evacuation orders were lifted for Broomfield. Many other communities were not so lucky.
Denver7's Eric Lufer is live for us from Superior this morning in the Rock Creek neighborhood. Eric, you're off El Dorado Circle. You've had to move a little bit between two subdivisions now, but both are really unrecognizable this morning.
Mike 1, 2, 3, can you hear us now? Are you guys there? Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Good. So yeah, the sheriff is having us leave this neighborhood, but you can see the destruction here on El Dorado. This is at El Dorado and Northern Way. This house absolutely decimated, destroyed. You can see one house that's partially still up, but still just absolutely destroyed. You can see a fire truck that's also here monitoring hot spots. The sheriff's really pushing us to get out of here. We're going to toss it back to you, but everywhere we go, we see absolute destruction.
Oh, we have the light. Oh. I'm Denver7's Veronica Acosta. We're near Washington and Pikes Peak Court. You can see this home behind me. It's completely been burnt. This one's not all the way down to the foundation like the ones we saw on the opposite side of the street, but I want to swing you guys just around a teeny bit so you can see that houses on the other side. They're still standing. We got a gentleman email us minutes ago asking us if we could check on his house. So Kevin, if you're watching this morning, this is your home. It's still standing. The side of it was a bit burnt. You can see over there that hole in the fence. You can see your dining room table on the side of the home, but besides that, the majority of the home standing this morning, and that's some of the good news for some folks out here, but people are starting to show up to see what's left. Back to you.
Incredible to see what was saved and what wasn't. The fire caused by the strong winds. Denver7's Chris Stewart is live for us near Flatiron Crossing Mall. That's a staging area for first responders. Chris, you have a look at some of the firefighting efforts this morning.
And that's where firefighters and police officers and even power crews from several communities parked overnight. But behind us, you take a look at Superior from Highway 128, and we're starting to get a look at where some of this smoke that we're smelling is coming from. We can see some smoldering, some smoke coming up from the ground over to our right a little bit as we're getting a little bit of a look at daylight. We have seen for hours crews working through the night, seeing those lights of first responders going through these neighborhoods. It has been many hours of work that they've been putting in. It is work that is going to be continuing. We are expecting to hear more from first responders in a news conference later this morning. Back to you.
All right, there is a lot of devastation out there, a lot of sadness and emotion, and people are going to need the help of the entire community to rebuild.
Yeah, if you want to help, the Boulder County Community Foundation has set up a fund for people wanting to donate. We've also set up a Denver7 Gives to help those impacted by these fires. You can donate right now. Just go to our webpage and click on December Wildfires to give. We'll also be working to find a partner so we can get more help to more Coloradans quickly.
Snow is on the way now. It's 6:56. We are tracking what's going to be a really cold New Year's Eve as well. Expecting snow here by mid to late morning. It's going to pick up in intensity tonight, and by about 5 o'clock, we'll be down to near freezing. Teens by 8 o'clock, just before midnight, right around 13 in Denver. Single digits, Jason, early tomorrow morning, and it looks like about 3 to 6 inches of snow for us this evening.
Wet roads right now in Fort Collins, as you can see up there. We do have some slick conditions developing there as the snow will continue to move in. Take a look at the drive that we have overall. Still, obviously, Highway 36 is closed down. I'll let you know when that reopens. We'll be doing that on Local 3, but the rest of us driving on any of the highways, including to or from the airport, look just fine. Not seeing any other problems, but I'll have a full detailed list of all the roads that are closed up and around Superior and Louisville coming up on Local 3 in just a bit.
Thank you, Jason. Because the situation is still developing, we're going to stay on air right here on Denver7 and on our sister station Local 3 for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, keep it right here. And as the sun comes up, our live coverage from some of the hardest hit areas from the Marshall Fire yesterday, fueled by hurricane force winds and dry conditions. We'll have updates on evacuation areas and the damage and much more. So stay with us.